What if ancient history is not wrong, just incomplete? What if before kings, before empires, before what we call civilization, there were beings remembered as giants? Not cartoon giants, not fairy tales, but something real enough that nearly every ancient civilization felt the need to preserve the memory. And here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. They shouldn't all remember the same thing, but they do. In the book of Genesis, we read about the Nephilim, often translated as giants. The Hebrew root, naphal, means to fall, the fallen ones. But fallen from where? From heaven? From power? From memory? Now here's where it gets interesting. The same idea appears in Greece, in Mesopotamia, in Norse myth, in Celtic legend, in Mesoamerica. Different continents, no shared communication. Same narrative structure. A previous race. Powerful. Different. Removed. Why does this pattern repeat? In Greek mythology, before Zeus ruled the sky, there were the Titans, massive beings, ancient, eventually overthrown, and imprisoned beneath the earth. In Norse mythology, before Odin, there were the Jotnar, giants, older than the gods themselves. In Celtic tradition, the Fomorians ruled before human kings. Again and again, a previous race, more powerful, replaced. And that replacement marks the beginning of what we call order. Why does civilization in so many myths begin with the removal of giants? That is not random storytelling. That is structural memory. Now let's return to Mesopotamia. The ancient Sumerian king list describes rulers who reigned for thousands of years. Before the flood. After the flood, lifespans shrink dramatically. History divides into two eras. Before catastrophe. After catastrophe. Before something extraordinary. After something ordinary. Why does the flood divide history into two different types of beings? And why does that same dividing line appear in other cultures as well? Some texts describe impossible heights, thousands of cubits, clearly exaggerated. But ancient language often used size symbolically. When someone was described as a giant, it didn't always mean literal height. It meant dominance, influence, power beyond ordinary humans. So maybe the real question isn't, were they 100 meters tall? Maybe the real question is, were they different enough to be remembered as giants? Modern science confirms something crucial. Homo sapiens wasn't always alone. We shared the planet with Neanderthals, with Denisovans, different human species, genetically distinct, physically different, some stronger, some built differently. Imagine ancient humans encountering another group that looked like them, but not quite. Taller, heavier, more robust. Over time, difference becomes legend. Legend becomes myth. Myth becomes scripture. And what begins as biology ends as story. Yes, images of giant skeletons circulate online. Most are hoaxes, digital fabrications. But hoaxes do not explain the ancient pattern. The real mystery is not fake photos. It's why cultures that never met tell the same story, of beings larger and older than themselves. Memory survives when something matters. Why did this matter so much? The history we think we know is just the surface. There are three explanations. First, giants are purely symbolic. They represent chaos, or old regimes replaced by new power. Second, they are exaggerated memories of powerful rulers remembered as larger than life. Third, they are distorted echoes of real encounters with human populations that no longer exist. History shows something important. When civilizations collapse, their memory survives as myth. If a culture disappears suddenly, what remains is story. Before the flood, giants. After the flood, ordinary humanity. Before the Olympians, titans. After the Olympians, order. Before our age, another race. After catastrophe, us. It repeats, over and over, and patterns are rarely accidental. Here's why this isn't just mythology. If ancient civilizations preserved a distorted memory of something real, then history did not begin with us. It continued with us. That means the timeline we think we understand might not be the full story. And if something existed before recorded history, its disappearance was significant enough to be remembered across the world. So here's the real question. Were giants fantasy, symbol, or the shadow of a forgotten chapter of humanity? Because if even a fragment of these stories is rooted in reality, then history did not start with us. It survived us. And that changes everything. Because civilizations collapse, knowledge disappears, memory fragments, and what remains is story. So maybe giants were not monsters. Maybe they were memory. Memory of a world that came before ours. And if that world existed, its disappearance was powerful enough to echo across every continent. So tell me, are giants myth? Or are they the last shadow of something we no longer understand? Next video is, who were the Watchers? The beings who changed humanity. If giants were remembered, then we have to ask, who created them? Who taught humanity forbidden knowledge? And who were the beings ancient texts called the Watchers?